Calm down, diddly 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 diddly. They did their best, shoddily diddly diddly diddly. Gotta be nice, hostility diddly diddly diddly. Ah, hell, diddly ding dong crap! Can't you morons do anything right?
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news. And on today's show, Mortal Kombat makes me feel old. Horror movies have a reason to smile, and WWE catches the White Rabbit.
So, funny story, I realized when I was editing this video that I forgot to talk about WWE capturing the White Rabbit. So, tune in next time.
But as you know, here at Model Behaviour, action figures always come first, or sometimes not at all. So let's talk about them. First up, we've had a couple of very cool official reveals from Farlane DC from New York Comic-Con, is where they sort of presented them. We've got a couple of mega figures, and I gotta say, they look pretty awesome. We've got Mongol first, and I'm not a big DC guy, you know this. I'm slightly familiar with this character, only because I've seen him pictured in different pictures, I guess. And this is another picture he's pictured in, and guess what? He looks like a big, bright, colourful, chunky mega figure. And big, bright, colourful, chunky, it's kind of my wheelhouse. So I'm very impressed just by this picture. I'm already seeing him and going like, random, colourful aliens? I could put that in my Cosmic Legions type display. I really dig this kind of approach that they're doing, where apparently this is like a modern version of his classic old school vintage kind of costume, a little melding of both, and I just think it looks very, very striking. Quite frankly, I dig it. The only reason I know of Mongol really, like, I've got a bit of a nostalgia kind of thing. I remember reading about him in Wizard magazine back in the 90s. They had a list of like Superman's most brutal moments, and apparently Soup's like burned Mongol with his laser vision because he did something nefarious and awful. I can't remember what that was. There's a really cool panel of Superman just being like, burn, and it's like, ooh, Superman, you being kind of a badass. I dig that. So yeah, we got Mongol. He looks good. And then also we've got Frankenstein's monster from, I think it's the Seven Soldiers of Victory storyline. I don't know this. That's just what it was described as. But again, big, bright, colourful. And I gotta say, McFarlane seemed to really be upping their game as far as the sculpting and just the paints. And yeah, okay, sometimes with the paints you get like the Gorilla Grodd, which that doesn't look great. But then also we get some new ones, and these look really nice. So I feel like on the whole, McFarlane are kind of, zhuzhing things up a bit. And I'm not a fan of their style of action figures. I'm not, but I can still see where improvements are being made. And I think both these big, chunky Megafig boys, they look pretty awesome. Sticking with 5K, they have shown some images of their Poison operative, which of course is Agent Venom. And yeah, this looks wicked. 1/12 scale. Oh man, I was always hoping that Marvel Legends might give us a new Venom, but now this guy, I mean, you're not going to be topping that. That looks absolutely phenomenal. The fact you've got the sleek kind of Black Ops look, and then you have the full-on symbiote one with all the tendrils, all the cool stuff, holding the weapons. This looks wicked. This is like the dream Agent Venom. I know Agent Venom, some people like the character, some people don't. I do. I was a big fan of that series. Also, the first kind of arc or two was pretty dark. It was really well put together. So I recommend going back to read that. But 5K, again, they've nailed it, man. Absolutely nailed it. And again, makes me look around my collection and go, which one of you guys has got to go? Because I got to get me not Agent Venom, a Poison, whatever they're calling him. Come on, guys. We know the score. Now, this is an interesting one, and I'd kind of like your help with this. I got contacted by a company called Scenario, and they make this app, which you can use to turn images into 3D models. really cool. So I had a little chat with the representative. They were like, hey, would you like to kind of, have a sort of a sponsorship thing going? And I was like, whoa. Well, first of all, I want to check out what it is that you do. Make sure I'm putting my name down to something that's pretty cool. And I got to say, this does actually look pretty cool. So right now, I'm just giving it a shout out as something that, I think you guys might be interested in. So it's not an official sponsorship or nothing, but I am not very technically inclined. And I'm not much of a photographer, but I know that a lot of you guys are. So if you want to take images of your action figures and then convert them into 3D models that can then be like moved and changed and do all kinds of funky, awesome looking stuff, then this might be an app for you. So I'm kind of like putting out sort of a challenge there. If you want to have a play around with Scenario and then message me on Instagram or the Patreon Discord or wherever else and like show me what you can do with this thing, that would be super cool. And like if it's a product that people really like, I might be, saying, okay, we could do like a regular kind of sponsorship thing with this, because I like things that are cool and things that kind of like bring this hobby into a new kind of realm. I mean, figure photography is like, that's as old as action figures, really. But being able to do like whole 3-dimensional scenes with your figures, that's a next level kind of thing. So I'm very intrigued by this. So guys, go check out Scenario and let me know what you can make with it. Now this next one I just want to touch on briefly because I don't want to linger on it, because it's Hasbro Marvel Legends QC issues. And that kind of sucks, but I don't want to just do this as a feature which is like low-hanging fruit. Hey, let's just have fun ragging on things. But if we don't make an issue about them, then companies will never think to improve what they do. And so today we're going to talk about my buddy's purchase of, well, I say buddy, it's a person I know, I suppose. Love you, Mark. His purchase of the Terrax and Fallen 1 2-pack. And just look at the picture, dude. Hasbro, state of your Fallen 1, mate. Yeah, of course he's the Fallen 1. He can't stand up straight. Look at that warping on the legs. It's just, dude, come on. Again, wouldn't be such a big problem if it didn't carry such a big price tag. That's it. When you pay a certain amount, you expect a certain quality. And this ain't it, man. Just look, the pictures speak for themselves. And then throw on top of that something we already knew, which was the fact that the render image of Terrax is not what you actually get when you buy the figure. It looks like he's been retooled and modernized. No, he's not. He's the same old Build-A-Figure from what, 10 years ago? If not more, give or take. My math is probably way out on that. But still, it's a premium modern price for a figure that is actually very, very old and hasn't been improved in the slightest, despite the image on the front of the box. And again, Hasbro can't just keep saying, oh, whoops, sorry, that was a render. Our bad. No, it's not a sorry. It's not a mistake when you keep doing it. It's only one of two things. You either don't care or you're deliberately trying to mislead people. That's it. So what is it? I love it when people put other people in difficult situations where they're like, you're either an idiot or you're a liar. Which one is it? And that's the case here. You're either being deliberately dishonest or unintentionally just not caring enough. There's only one of two options, guys. So help us out there, because we're forking over all this money and we're getting substandard product. And that kind of sucks. So guys, that was just my little mention of that, because again, I'm not saying it to rag. I'm saying it because the more people that do, the more companies will be forced to go, okay, yeah, we don't want to, but I guess you're forcing our hand. We're going to have to give you better value for money. Yeah! As egregious as that might sound, that's how it works. So yeah, guys, if you get bad product, tell me and we'll make light of it. Because also, you watch my reviews, we get good products. I say that they're awesome. And I would love nothing more than to say wicked awesome stuff about Hasbro. I mean, gosh, I've ordered the entire X-Men Retro Wave and the Daredevil 3-pack, and if they all arrive in good condition, looking like they should, I'm going to sing their praises to high heavens. But when it's bad, we got to call it out. All right, that's enough of this TED Talk. Let's move on to something more positive. Let's move over to something fun and spooky for the Halloween season. Trick or Treat Studios are giving us a 1/6 scale Sam figure from the movie Trick or Treat. It sounds stupid saying Trick or Treat, but that is how it's spelt. But come on, Trick or Treat. Regardless, I love the design of Sam. Being a big Halloween person, I love all the Halloween imagery, and this is combining scarecrows, pumpkins, and creepy kids. That's just ideal. Someone went to a focus group and they were like, yep, these are all the creepy things. Let's make a Halloween mascot. And it's a shame that the Trick or Treat movie, it never really became like a big Halloween staple, but it's a little sleeper hit that has a bit of a cult following. And this dude, I think over time, over the years, he's going to show more staying power. I hope so, because I love the design. 1/6 scale, that's like Hot Toys kind of scale. He's got all different accessories. I think he looks super fun. So this is, he ain't cheap. But then again, that's your 1/6 scale Hot Toys kind of prices. $199.99, $200. All right, there you go. But hey, can you really put a price on Halloween? I don't think so. Unfortunately, this guy won't be with you in time for Halloween this year. He's scheduled to ship around about February of next year, but that's fine. It gives you a little bit more time to save up for him. Regardless, I think he looks really cool. Keeping it spooky, pre-orders are now live for Neca's Donatello Invisible Man mashup. And I gotta say, I'm still loving these guys. I've got the Raph and Leonardo. I think I might just have to get the whole set now because they all look really great. And they've been, again, super creative with how they put these characters together. And that's what I love so much with these, is just the thought and the fun that designers have clearly had, where they've sat down with a budget and it's almost like the budget was too big and they thought, what can we spend all this money on? Let's do this. Let's give him translucent stuff. Let's do all these accessories. It just looks like this is the fun of action figures. This is the joy where you don't get something in hand and go, ah, man, they really kind of like scrimped on this one. No, you get them and you're like, oh, there's so much stuff here. That's what I really like. So Donatello, he's going to be a great addition to Mummy Michelangelo, Frankenstein Raphael, and Igor Leonardo. So yeah, I'm really psyched for this set. And they're not done yet, because they have also shown a preview image of Phantom of the Opera, Casey Jones. And it's funny, like, I gotta say, I don't like the look of that. And probably just because it's the first human one that they're doing. And I think because it's a human face, it actually looks a little bit too creepy for me. That actually looks genuinely scary. Casey Jones with the cracked hockey mask and the phantom mushed up face underneath. I'm like, ooh. So that's just a little bit too horrific for my liking. But I can't fault them for the work and effort and thought they've put into it. And hey, look, I might still be won over when I see more images, but I prefer the slightly more goofy, fun kind of turtles as opposed to the genuinely horrifying looking Casey Jones. Regardless, this might be one of the best sublines I think Neca have ever done. Double thumbs up, guys. I want to give a little shout out now and a little kind of promotional feature for this company that makes Detolf lights. C.E. Frank or Cefranc. Sounds a little bit French. I don't know how to pronounce it, but they did contact me a little while ago and they said, hey, we like what you do. Of course you do. And would you like to have some of our lights that you can put in your Detolf and maybe give us a shout out on your show? And I was like, free stuff? Yeah, okay. So yeah, these are the lights that I got from this company, and you can get them too if you like how they look. They're available on Amazon for about $35, but super easy to install. 4 individual little LED light strips, and you can pop them down, one single switch, and boom! You got a badass looking Detolf shelf there. So yeah, go check them out. I'm very happy with how they've spruced up my X-Men display, so maybe they can do the same for you. Go give them a click. Going over to Super 7 now and Thundercats, they've shown some images, or actual products, I suppose, if you were there in person, at New York City Comic Con of their upcoming figures. So there's a couple here. We have Rotaro, and I can't say how much these look like their source material, because I can't remember any of these guys. I think I must have only watched the first season of Thundercats when I was a kid. But yeah, you've got Rotaro, and then you also have Willa, and again, I don't know how well they compare, but just as action figures, they look really pretty, so that's good enough for me. They've got Snarf, who I know a lot of people have been wanting because, as irritating as that little mascot could be, they're still an essential member. You know, Snarf is the Slimer or the Jubilee to the team, where it's like, okay, fine, gotta have the one for the kids there. But yeah, Snarf is going to join the ranks, and then also there's going to be Mongor as well. So that's the 4 sort of big reveals from New York Comic Con. And the Snarf, I think, is going to be retailing for about $55. And then the other 3 are going to be the more regular kind of price point of $65. So yeah, if you're collecting this whole Thundercats line, like, I hope you're ready with your wallet, because they ain't slowing down. Just a little sneaky peeky update now. 5K Toys have shown a couple of images of their Cuthulu figure, and this is still in development. There's a long way to go, but we've got some painted kind of prototypes now. 2 different color versions. There's sort of classic Cuthulu and this more sort of dark oil slick kind of looking one, which I think looks really amazing. So we still don't know what the price is going to be on this gigantic behemoth chonky boy, but man, when you talk about your premium high-end figures, this looks like what I'd be so tempted by. I've been looking around my room recently going, who's on the chopping block? Who might have to go so I can generate some money to buy some of these new figures? And I gotta be honest, on Mortal Kombat shelf, you might be in trouble, boys. Because this guy, the Furay Planet figures, so many cool, unique, original new characters coming out. Might be time to broaden my horizons a bit. Little bit of Mortal Kombat themed news now. A bit of a double whammy. Oh, whammy! First of all, we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of Mortal Kombat. Holy head-ripping, spine-tearing potatoes. How has it been 30 years since I first saw that terrifying-looking arcade cabinet in the bowling alley and was just hooked on this franchise ever since? So there's no kind of like big plans or anything announced that I'm aware of, besides the fact that they're just kind of publicizing, hey, it's the 30th anniversary of Mortal Kombat. Everyone look back, and there's a few like little mini documentaries and stuff, but I'm just hoping that they're gonna wrap up these 30th anniversary celebrations with the announcement of a new game. That's what I'm hoping for, but who knows? And we've got to be due a new Mortal Kombat game soon. We've had nothing official come out yet, so fingers crossed we're gonna get some cool new Mortal Kombat news. Can't even say the name right. We're gonna get some cool new Mortal Kombat news coming out soon. I sincerely hope so, because I'm a huge fan. I want to see more of the franchise. One thing I would just love to see is a re-release of the old games, like a gold collection on the Switch or something. That would be so much fun, and it kind of sucks that those aren't available like to play instantly on some of the consoles that I have. I'm sure other people can do, but this is all about me, alright? So yeah, it's a good time to celebrate Mortal Kombat, and in doing so, you can also pick up a statue from Iron Studios of Baraka. And he looks wicked. One of the most kind of toyetic looking characters from Mortal Kombat. I say that. They're all toyetic looking. Just brilliantly simple design. And I think it's almost a bit of a shame when they complicate the designs too much for the characters. The more basic they are, I think the more iconic they look. But this statue of Baraka, he looks absolutely awesome. So this dude is going to be retailing for about $180, and he's going to be hitting store shelves around about Q3 of next year. So again, you got a long old time to save up for him, but yeah, if you want to have just the big badass Tarkatan warrior on your shelf, then this dude's going to fit the bill. Over in comic book news, I wanted to give a little shout out to X-Force 32, which comes out this week, because it's doing something that I always love to see in comic books, which is bringing in a villain from a different franchise to take on the team. So we have in this instance Kraven coming to Krakoa to hunt the mutants, and I just dig that. Specifically with Spider-Man villains, I love it when Doc Ock or Mysterio will pop up in a completely different title that's not associated with Spider-Man, and you're like, hey, that's kind of a cool mashup. I remember the old Kazar series, that had Kraven in, and the Rhino as well, and I just dig that. So just the front cover alone sold me. Kraven the Hunter versus Omega Red. That's a fight that I never imagined happening, but now I absolutely have to see. So yeah, just for a random comic book pickup, I'm going to give X-Force a try and see if it can win me over. Over in movie news, I want to give a little shout out to the movie Smile, a new horror movie, which, looking at the trailer, looks to me like a kind of generic sort of The Ring type horror movie, but they had the coolest campaign to promote the movie.
Paramount apparently paid for actors to sit behind home-plated big league golf ballparks with a big creepy smile on their face the whole time.
And it worked. It was a little viral success. Loads of people were reporting on these freaky looking people standing at sporting events, staring into the camera, smiling. So bravo and kudos to the little ad campaign marketing team that put that together. That was very clever, and it would seem that it worked. Because apparently it's #1 at the box office for a second week as we speak, and doing, particularly gangbuster business for a horror movie. Apparently Halloween is already slated to be #1 when it comes out next week, as it should be, because I love that franchise. I can't wait to see that. In the meantime, though, give Smile its props, because, that was a little clever marketing campaign they did. Over in MCU news, Patrick Stewart is teasing people a little bit with his social media posts, making us wonder whether or not Professor X will be returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He posted a Twitter picture of him in New York City with the caption, "It's marvelous to be back in New York." Oh, what's going on, Patrick? I gotta say, look, I loved Patrick Stewart as Professor X. We all did. We all just love Patrick Stewart. The dude's awesome. But he is too old to be playing Professor X now. It just is. He looked really old in Multiverse of Madness. Awesome to see him. And that's not knocking him. He is a human being. We all age. Like, if I was playing, like, a younger character, like if I was playing someone in their 20s, I'd be okay with people going, "No, you look too old, dude. You look at least 30. Thank you very much. But I wouldn't mind seeing him pop up for a little cameo or something in Deadpool, because also, Deadpool, it doesn't matter. You can just be silly. I think a lot of people are wondering, how does Deadpool fit in with multiverses and stuff? I think it's just its own thing. The Deadpool universe is not the same as the Fox X-Men universe. It's obviously not the same as the MCU. It's just its own universe. So you can do whatever you want with that. And then at some point, you can suck Deadpool into the MCU and that's it. You're good. You don't need to come up with complicated reasons and whys as to how these can meld and stuff. No, it's his own thing.
I suggest you don't worry about this sort of thing and just enjoy yourself. That goes for you all, too. Yes.
And that's awesome. And I cannot wait to see what the new movie has in store. And hopefully, we might even get a little Patrick Stewart in there. And wrapping up movie news, IGN has a review of a Korean action horror movie called Project Wolf. And this is the first I've heard of it, but boy howdy do I want to see this movie. It's described as a kind of a mashup between Under Siege, Resident Evil, and just all kinds of badass action horror type movies. And that I'm kind of sold already. So the premise is a bunch of criminals are being transported on a cargo ship and they break out, but lo and behold, the authorities do have kind of a backup, which is essentially Nemesis from Resident Evil by the looks of things. So we have criminals versus monster super soldiers on a cargo ship and ultra violence. It looks really fun. Got a 9 out of 10 from IGN. And granted, your belief of IGN reviews, that's down to your own personal taste. But I'm very excited to see this. There's no word on when it's going to be available in any form in the UK. But as soon as it is, I'm going to sit down with a big old bucket of popcorn and hopefully have a good time. In what I think is kind of a nice little story, Velma from Scooby-Doo is officially gay, which might sound like a funny old thing to have a story about, but hey, we like funny old stories.
And as promised, here are your Scooby snacks. Jinkies.
So the character of Velma has been kind of subtly coded as gay for a long time. But in the most recent Scooby-Doo movie, Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo, gotta love more Halloween stuff, she is officially depicted as kind of fawning for and falling for this female character who's been introduced. And I kind of like that, because you know what? doesn't harm nobody. It's just a nice little bit of representation, and it's not also one of those things where it's taking a character who's been known for a long time as being straight and then making them gay, which actually, like, people complain, but I don't think that's ever really been done, besides maybe Iceman, but I don't want to get into that argument. But Velma has long since been depicted, as a potentially gay character that was never kind of confirmed. So I think it's just really fun to have that canonically put there and have her as another representative of the community in a mainstream show that people know and love and enjoy and have done for decades. So yeah, I'm really down with that, and I think it looks kind of cool. So yeah, good on you. A movie I spoke about recently, Violent Night, starring David Harbour from Stranger Things as a badass Santa Claus taking on a bunch of mercenaries, has finally had its full trailer, and I gotta say, this looks like exactly what I was hoping it would be. It's Die Hard with Santa Claus. And John Leguizamo as the villain as well. And he's always great quality. So yeah, I'm really excited to see this. It looks bonkers, wacky, self-aware, uber violent, which is always just fun. I don't like realistic violence, but when it's over-the-top cartoon comic book violence, sign me up, I'll be there all day. So yeah, I think this could be a little Christmas hit, and it's fun. Die Hard was always argued, is it a Christmas movie or not? Well, now we have an official Christmas version of Die Hard. I'm all in for this. As mentioned on the last episode, the Super Mario trailer just came out, and I gotta say, I love the way it looks. I think the humor, the style, absolutely terrific. But already, the big thing on the internet is ragging on Chris Pratt for not doing a Mario-ish enough voice for the character. And for that, I'll just be the first to say, guys, come on. You've had one line of dialogue, and already it's any excuse to rag on Chris Pratt. And I actually get that. I know Chris Pratt is not the most beloved Hollywood star, and I don't have a dog in this race. I don't really care. But a lot of people are like, oh, look at Chris Pratt. He didn't even bother to turn up for this. What, did you just phone it in? You've heard one line of dialogue barely, and I gotta say, it actually does sound like he has altered and changed his voice to have just a little hint of an Italian twang. And that, I think, is more than enough. It's fine. Because otherwise, you're going to be having, hey, it's a me, a Mario, a bonanza, bippity boppity. Do you really want that for 90 minutes? So many people were saying, why didn't they just use Mario's voice actor from the game? Seriously, for 90 minutes, that's what you want. Mario has the voice in the game because you only get tiny little split-second sound bites. Woo, let's go! That's not going to work for this style of movie. You need a more relatable human kind of voice. And with a little bit of an Italian twang, that's great. Because also, I guarantee you that if he was totally talking like this, everyone who's ragging on Chris Pratt for not doing a Mario voice would instead be on the internet saying, how dare you make fun of Italian people with Italian accents, putting on this pretend accent. Oh God, I just can't win. Oh, it's exhausting. It's just so tiring. So yeah, all I'm saying is, I don't care about Chris Pratt, but what I am saying is, I'm actually really looking forward to this movie, and I think the voice sounds fine. Can't we just enjoy things? TV news now, and Fox have issued a preview of their Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. What number is it? 33? Maybe? I will always watch the Treehouse of Horror episodes. Even if I don't watch any other Simpsons, which I don't, I'll always try and catch the Halloween horror ones, because yeah, they're a pale comparison of what they were in the golden age, but it's still kind of fun to see as a time capsule of what counts as Simpson humor in this day and age. So we can see that they're doing a parody of It with Krusty the Clown. That just writes itself. That's a really good idea. And the other ones, I just want to wait and see what they're going to do. Because yeah, I think every year I get excited to watch Treehouse of Horror, and then every year I'm disappointed that it's still not very good. But it doesn't mean that I won't still go through this cycle, because it's Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. That's always going to have a place in my heart. So bring it on this year. I'm ready to be hurt again. Recently on this show, I shared some badass artwork that I wanted to know the name of the creator and where it came from. Well, guys, you didn't disappoint. Kyle Harlan is the name of this artist, and he has a whole portfolio of badass artwork, which you can go and check out at his website. Obviously, the dude he's a professional artist. He's not just like a hobbyist. Like, this is what he does. When you got those kind of skills to pay the bills, of course, that's how you're going to do it. So yeah, go check out Kyle Harlan artwork. The dude's, he's got game. Do people still say that? I'll say it. He's got game. Over in Cosplay Corner, I've had a lot of cool recommendations from people saying like, oh, you got to highlight this person or that person. I really appreciate that. Living Dead Kev, unusual Twitter handle for a really awesome looking cosplay artist. This lady, her makeup, just insane. To the point where she has actually put videos up just to show that she is a human being and not just a CGI creation. Because you look at some of her Harley Quinn stuff, or especially I think the more human version, the Harleen Quinzel, and it just looks like this is a human 3D person from the Batman cartoon. How do you do that? But there you go. So go check her out, because there's cosplay, and then there's just how human beings can weirdly make themselves look like uncanny valley creations where even your brain is like, what am I looking at exactly? That's really awesome. So yeah, go check out Living Dead Kev and just, yeah, let your jaw go slack when you're like, whoa, that's really impressive. And finally, Christian Bale was recently interviewed about his role as Gore the God Butcher in Thor: Love and Thunder. And he said that filming that role was the definition of monotony. And don't worry, Christian, after watching that movie, we know how you feel. But yeah, he was asked in an interview about whether or not he used his method acting techniques, because that is one thing that Christian Bale is very famous for, is being a method actor, which is sometimes why I think people say he can be quite cantankerous on set, because he is so into his character. So when they asked, did you do that for Gore the God Butcher? He was like, no. No, I did not. Because I guess acting on a green screen where nothing is actually around you and it's all just going over and over the same things, the same ways, he's like, no, that would not be practical or applicable, which I appreciate. Because also, you know what? He was still the best thing in that movie. So, you know, he was doing something right. Definitely was not worthy of going through the mental rigmarole of method acting. So Christian Bale, just thanks for keeping it real. It's always kind of fun when because so many people come out of Marvel movies and they're like, oh, it was the best experience ever. This movie is going to be amazing. And Christian Bale was like, nah, mate, didn't really enjoy it. Fair play, you cantankerous old thing. And guys, that does it for Good News for today. What did you think about the stories covered? Comment below. Let me know. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then you know what you gotta do. You gotta join the 6-1 Clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you want to go one step beyond in supporting the show, then you can do. You can go over to patreon.com/Displaying-Model-Behaviour. Toss a couple of bucks my way and you can enjoy all the exclusive videos on there, including my deep dive into the Spider-Man TV show from the 90s, where we go over all the different episodes and all the action figures involved. And also, you can go pick yourself up a Model Behaviour t-shirt over at teespring.com, or grab yourself a YouTube channel membership, which will allow you to have all the nice icons by your name when we do the live streams, and of course also be a part of the show when we do the member and Patreon call-in shows. So gang, thank you very much for watching. That's it for the shilling. Until next time, keep displaying model behaviour.
Cup of coffee. Big time.